Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Built by Sam. Today's gonna be day one of bathroom project here in the shop. We're gonna be going through that wall, adding an 8x8 bathroom to the back of the building here. Full bath, toilet, shower, vanity, and including the pumping system to get everything back up to the front yard where the septic field is. So stick around and let's get going. All right guys, so this is where the bathroom's gonna end up coming out. You guys see on the ground here, it's about 8 feet wide, comes out about 8 feet. It's actually about 9 feet wide. My posts on this side of the building are 8 feet between each post, not 8 feet on center. What we're gonna do is remove the metal between these two posts, and we're gonna excavate underneath this. This is gonna have a crawl space underneath the bathroom, so we have room for the pump and all the plumbing and whatnot under there. And we're going to set 2 new posts out on the outside here, and we're going to basically create a platform between the 4 posts with 2x8s and frame it all up with the walls and build a little addition on the back here. So the one thing we need to do before we do any of that is my mini split falls kind of right in the corner of the wall. So my plan is we're going to pump it down, disconnect the outdoor unit portion of it, take it down for right now, and when the new wall gets built, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and mount it on the side of the new bathroom wall. So I should be able to use the same lines, electrical hookup, all that good stuff. Just move the mounts to this wall, turn it 90 degrees, should be good to go. So the good thing is there's a process where you can pump these down to where the refrigerant ends up back in this outdoor condenser unit. You tighten down the valves, shut her down, and then you can remove the line set and you don't waste any of the refrigerant. And then when we go to hook it back up, all the refrigerant will be stored in this. We just got to vacuum down the line set to the indoor unit and open the valves back up. So let's get going with that first. All right, so the first thing we gotta do is make sure it's on cooling mode, which it is. And we're gonna turn it down as low as it goes. Probably 60. We wanted to make sure it was in cooling mode, that we turn it down, we let it run for a minute. Then what we're gonna do is go back outside and shut down the valves on it. If you guys are wondering, this is a 24,000 BTU unit, and it does an excellent job of keeping the shop cool. And it also heats the shop no problem as well. So now that it's on cool, it's running, we want to remove these service caps here, which expose the valves. So we'll take these off. Your smaller line is your liquid line, and your larger one is your suction. So what we want to do is shut the liquid line down so no more refrigerant is going into the unit inside. And after about 30 seconds or so, you should be able to start hearing it strain a little bit as it can't pull anything else more out of the system. And then we'll be able to close the suction line. And as soon as we do that, we will pull the disconnect here and shut down the power to it. So we're gonna let it go for 30 seconds or so. All right, we'll close the suction. As soon as this is closed, you're gonna pull the power. And that should be it. That should have pulled all the refrigerant out of the indoor unit, and we should be able to disconnect everything. So here, I'll run up, pull down this neck. It's always a good idea to take a picture of something you're taking apart. And you can see when I originally built this, everything got a good house wrap on it. This blockade house wrap's awesome. You can stretch it really tight. It stays really nice, seals up really good. And then even all my flashing pieces, and anytime there was a transition, I taped them to the house wrap. So any type of moisture that got back here, it could run out and come out in front of the steel instead of keep working its way down. So anytime there was a break in the flashing or window, whatever it may be, the flashing got taped to the house wrap, and it provides a place for the water to run out and not get trapped. So we're gonna try to loosen up this trim here. I don't want to cut any more of the house wrap than I have to, just because this place is sealed up pretty well. And I want to try to keep it that way. So that should be one edge, post 5.5 inches. And there's the other edge. Okay. Okay. Like I said earlier, my posts are 8 feet between the posts. So if I hook on here, go 8 feet, it should be really close to the inside of the next post. Which it is, it's perfect. So what we're gonna do here is, I'm gonna bring my tractor in. I'm gonna mark this out roughly where it is, go maybe a foot past it, and we're gonna excavate this down about 36 inches or so. So we're gonna get it down the whole width out, 8 feet out, get this dirt out of here, and then we will dig our 2 post holes for our 2 outer posts there that line up with these 2 posts, and that will create our crawl space area, give us our structure for our 2 posts out there, and we will connect all this together with the floor system. So we'll get the tractor fired up, get the lift out of the way, and just start digging. John Deere. Got most of the dirt out of here. Gotta clean this up a little bit. But you can see our posts line up with our marks that we had. So I have a 24-inch rat wall concrete that's poured with my slab. And I got 1.5-inch foam on the outside of that concrete. So the concrete comes down to here at this point. And the posts, my grade originally was like around this point. So they're like 48 inches below here. So my concrete pads below my posts are 4 foot down from here. So I'm nowhere near undermining the post or anything like that. So I'm not worried about that. But you'll see we'll be able to attach our ledger board on here and kind of build this as if it was a deck with a post out here and a post out here and frame it in. And then what we'll do is we'll do the walls similar with that, with the foam around the perimeter to seal it up so we can backfill it and create our little crawl space here. So once you get down about 3 feet in my yard here, you can see you got topsoil, like a little bit of a clay. And then once you get past that, it's like literally pea stone and sand. So I have great drainage here in my yard. And once you get past all the roots and all the clay and whatnot, it's actually really easy to dig. We will get this cleaned up and go from there. So if I remember right, my finished floor in the shop, 2 inches above the bottom of this trim here. So right now from finished floor to where we're at, we're probably about 42 inches down, which is pretty good. These are gonna be 2x8 floor joists. So the bottom of the joist will be here. I'll still have almost 3 feet underneath the joists to crawl around or do whatever I got to do under there. So should be in good shape. Right, buddy?
Yeah.
What?
Am I taller than it?
Is it taller than you? Come over here. No, you're still deeper.
Taller. You're way taller than this. You need to make it a little bigger.
No, I think we're pretty good. We're gonna have to. Well, I was just smoothing out the bottom a little bit.
Shovel.
Shovel, yeah. Little tamper.
You need a saw.
Well, there was roots sticking out. I had to.
Can I try?
You wanna try it?
Yeah.
It's a little heavy. Don't smash your toes. Oh. Keep going. Go. All right, that's good for now. We'll get it good later, when we're all done digging. So we'll get it nice and packed down once we get everything dug out. We still got to dig where the posts are going to go out here.
Here?
One in each corner and one over there. Hold me up against that post. Down at the bottom, down at the ground. There you go. So 8 feet.
What?
No, 8 feet is where we got to be.
8 feet.
Come over this one.
That's level, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go. Post. Yeah.
What you have to do? Put post?
Yeah, we gotta dig some
What
holes.
is a post?
That's a post. These things.
Oh. Whoa! My soul.
I like this little shovel.
Here.
Thanks, buddy.
Where's the other part? Up there?
Right here's good. I need a drink. Alright, you want to back your gator up over here? Stop. Perfect.
I didn't back it up a little more.
Now, if you go back anymore, you're going to tip over
No.
backwards. Alright, go dump it.
Go. One more scoop for me.
Alright, go. Whoa! You alright?
Yeah.
Got you on camera.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I thought I was gonna go forward.
Just happy you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I got a little hurt, but I'm fine.
Good.
It was funny. Camera, I think that was the coolest thing I ever did on camera.
Thank you.
If I want to build my barn, I need to learn from my dad and his YouTube channels. And build it myself. Right, Dad?
Right. You like building stuff?
Yeah. With you.
Alright, so we got the holes dug. Was that hard work?
Yeah.
Got that hole all dug out.
Now we're doing
So,
the cement.
yeah, we'll grab the cement mixer,
We'll show
some
you.
concrete, and probably put 3 bags of concrete in the bottom of each of these. And we'll let it harden up overnight, and tomorrow we'll anchor our posts to them.
Yeah.
And we'll square them all up to the posts on the building. And we'll be able to get started framing. We'll have to dig one more hole where the pump goes, probably in this area here, for all the sewage and water to come down. And that's it. So let's go get the cement mixer. Right here. Alright, so we're gonna mix up some concrete. I prefer this concrete from Menards. It's actually quite a bit better than the Quickcrete you get at any other big box store. It actually has a decent amount of aggregate in it. So it helps to put some water in the mixer first. Right down to the No, these ones we need.
Because you already have that right here.
Yeah. All right, that's good.
Wait, Dad, I forgot this little corner.
It's okay.
A little bit. There.
Watch out.
That corner's good.
All right. So that was 3 bags. Tell you what, this old Harbor Freight mixer, we bought it off Marketplace. It's mixed a lot of bags of concrete and it's still going.
Videos.
So we're just gonna smooth them out. They don't have to be perfect, it's just a footing. Just get them as level as you can. Get them flat. And tomorrow we'll be able to anchor our post bracket down to this. We'll drill into it. It'll be green enough to drill very easily tomorrow. But it'll be set up enough to where we can start building on it. So this footing is well below the frost line. The code here in Michigan is 42 inches below grade. And the bottom of this footing is about at least 48, if not a little more. The sand I have here is a blessing and a curse because it makes it easy to dig, but it also caves in super easy. When I pick this up, can you push that under there?
This?
Yeah. Ready? Perfect. All right, guys, so we got the concrete in. Looking good. Tommy's got his name written in that one.
Your name.
So I think we're gonna call it a night.
Yep.
It's almost I don't know, 8 o'clock probably.
Yeah, probably.
So tomorrow the concrete will be set up. We'll put the post brackets in, get everything squared up to the building, get everything lined up real good, pull some strings, and get exactly where the posts are going. So we'll get them anchored in place, and then we can maybe get the deck of this thing built. So we'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 2 of the bathroom edition here. So this morning our concrete's all dried up in our post holes where we're going to set our 2 posts today. So the first thing we got to do is I put together a couple little batten boards. If you guys aren't familiar with them, explain how they work as I install them. Basically, we're going to get some string lines pulled off the building here, get everything squared up, get the location of our posts, and then we're going to go ahead and anchor down these 6x6 base plates that get anchored into the concrete, and we'll be able to mount up our 6x6s that are going to hold up the outside edge of this floor here. So let's get going on that. All right, so the purpose of these is if you're trying to lay out some string lines, if you just go ahead and pound in a stake and wrap a string around it, you don't have much lateral movement with your string if you got to make some adjustments where it's got to go. So what we can do is we can put these 2 at each corner. There'll be 1 here, 2 at that side, and we'll pull some strings off the building, some measurements. We'll mark out our 8 foot on here to the outside of our post, 8 foot over there to the outside of our post, and we'll be able to move the string back and forth on the batten board till we get everything squared up without having to rehammer in stakes and move stakes. So it's just a simple couple pieces of wood. It's kind of a shame I had some clear pine, but it was something I had laying around, so I just put some points on them, made some stakes, and we'll start by just driving them in, and because we kind of have a good idea where this is going, but now we have 18 inches of room to play with once these are installed. So we'll get these in and go from there. Second side. You can see how soft the sand is here at my house. I swear it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. If you ever want to dig a trench or post holes, they constantly cave in on you. But it is easy to dig, but it's not easy to keep them clean. So there's been times where I've dug post holes out for a fence. I ended up just using my shop vac to get all the sand out of the bottom. But it is what it is. All right, so we know that the outside of this post is where we want the outside of this post. So we're gonna attach a string to the very outside edge of this post. I'm just gonna put a screw in. We're gonna keep it somewhat level. It's kind of a pain when you're real high above where your footing's at, but once we get the string in, we can just use a level to transfer our line down to the footing and make our marks where it's gotta go. So I'll just try to make it at the same height as that one, so at least the string is somewhat level. And I'm gonna go right on the corner here. So when I put my string on here, it's actually coming off the edge of the post. Try to screw in. All right. So we'll go ahead and cut a length of this string, so we're gonna have to use it for other areas. And what we can do now is put a little tension on it to make a knot, just like that. So if you look now we have the freedom to move this right and left once we start trying to get things squared up, so I can push it, on one side or the other, and I don't have to mess with the stakes at that point. So right now we're just guessing where it goes, put it there. We'll pull another string this way, another one off that side, and then we'll start getting our dimensions and actually square it up where it needs to go. Okay. And now here we're just gonna connect these two. So this will be the outsides of our 6x6s. So now what we'll do is we'll put the tape right up against the post and see where we're at with the string. Now the batten board is farther away from where the post is at, so I can't really measure out there because I got nothing to measure off of besides the dirt. So I got to measure back here. So we're 98.5. So we're gonna have to come in a little bit here. So we'll scoot this in. We'll get it fairly close, and we'll go check the other side, and we'll have to maybe play with both sides till we get it right on. Because as I move this end, the other end is going to change slightly, or vice versa. 96.25. $96 on the money. So check this side again. No, 95 now. Let's go to the side. 96. All right. So now both sides are at 96, which means that that line is perfectly parallel to the building. So now we have to get this line square to the building or perpendicular to the building. So the easiest way to do that's with the 3-4-5 method. The only issue is the wall, this footing is not exactly flat. All right, So since this piece of foam here is not perfectly flat because it, was dug into the ground and there's a footing poured behind that, or a rat wall I should call it, I'm gonna take this straight piece of 2x6 I got here. I'm gonna put little spacer blocks on each post, attach it to it, and that will give me a nice straight ledger to measure off of and to square off of. Because from this post to this post, they're perfectly in line, but everything in between them is not. So if I mount a board on the face of them that's perfectly parallel with those two posts, then I have something straight to measure off of to do my 3, 4, 5 to figure out if my outside string lines are square to the building here. We'll get that mounted up and we'll get everything squared up after that. So I'm just gonna use a piece of scrap 1x as a spacer. And what that will do is hold my 2x6 out away from this foam, because there's some spots it's in, some spots it's out. So we gotta get in front of all that stuff. So we're gonna end up mounting the 2x6 right below the string line. So I'm just gonna throw one screw in it because we'll use a longer screw that'll go through both those things. Okay. Okay, so now you can see we got a nice straight board to work off of that's on the two posts. It's a little block because there's certain spots, like here, it would have been touching, it would have deflected the board out. So this is simply a reference board to measure off of. So, if you guys ever need to find square for something, based on a right triangle, if you do 3 feet in one direction, like this, so make a mark at 3 feet, and it has to be on the same edge of where you're going to measure from. So the face of this is where I'm going to measure off on the string. So 3 feet from that string down this way, and we go 4 feet. Grab a Sharpie so I can mark it on the string. We'll measure from the face, and we'll make a mark right at 4 feet. So we got a little mark there. Now if you measure from that point there, and you got to use the same side of the tape measure too, so you can't have that side then read the opposite side. You got to read the same side that you're touching. So you mark it on that little mark there, or put your tape on a little mark. You measure, and you can see we're at 59.25 roughly, and we need to be 60, which means that string line's got to go out away from us. So we'll cheat this over a little bit. Hopefully we got enough room on our block. Make sure the string's not bouncing. And we're gonna measure it again. We're gonna go to that point, come here. Now we're at 59 and about 3/4, so we need another 1/4 inch. But to move a 1/4 inch back at that end, this has to move quite a bit further. So we'll scoot this, let's say another inch. See where that puts us. It's a little easier when you get a second hand holding you over at the other end. And right there, we're right at 60 on the money. So now this string is square to this board, and this board is parallel with the building because it's connected exactly to the two posts, which are all in line with each other. So now, instead of having to do that again on that side, all we have to do is measure from this string on this side our post-to-post distance. So I'm going to put a screw there so I can hook onto it. I'll put it on the inside of the string so I hook my tape on it. The outside of the screw is the outside of the string. But they're 8 feet between the posts, and then they're 5.5 inches each. So theoretically it should be 8 feet, 11.5 inches outside to outside. And we are 8 feet 11 and 1/8. So that's the dimension we're going to go. So we want it to be perfectly in line with that. So Again, we'll hook on that string over there, on the screw that we put in. We're gonna go 8 feet, 11 and 1/8. So now, slide this over. We're on that mark. So now, since that one is square to the building, and this line is parallel with that line, that means that's square to the building. This string is parallel to the building. We should have a perfect square here. So now that our strings are square, without touching the string, we're gonna get right up next to it and confirm that we're level. Just got lucky I set that down and it's right where it's gotta be. So that's this edge of the string. So that's the outside of our post there. And if you come this way, do the same scenario. Keep moving the base of the level. Then you move the level over to the string. And when you're about the string, if you're level, and you're good. That's the mark. So that corner is the outside corner of the post. So we can line those two things up a little bit like that. Make a little corner. That's the outside of that post. And we'll do the same scenario on this side. Okay, that's the outside there. Come this way. Right there. All right. So we can connect those to give us a little reference here. And that's the outside of our post there. So now we can drop our brackets in place. The way these work is you anchor them down. Your post basically sits in between these, so you want that actually the inside of this on your line because the post is going to be in between these. And then this is the width of the post. Should be about 5.5 inches. It's 5, so the post's going to hang over slightly, so we're going to cheat it in 1/4 and over right there. And then you have some slop in the hole here, so you have plenty of wiggle room. Once you get the anchor started, we can adjust it. Do the same thing on this side. Right about there. All right, so we are going to anchor these in place. It just takes a single anchor in the center. So we got a 1/2 inch galvanized anchor, 1/2 inch bit here. And it should be pretty easy because the concrete's still pretty green from just being poured yesterday. So a little technique with these things, if it's possible, always drill all the way through the concrete into the dirt for a couple of reasons. For one, it gives room for if there's any concrete dust that's in the hole still, this will push it down into the dirt and not have your anchor bottom out too early. 2, if you ever need to take these out, I mean, in this case, this is never gonna happen, but if you're anchoring something down to your shop floor and you wanna take this out, there's no way to pull this anchor out of the concrete without breaking up the concrete. You can cut it off flush to the concrete with a grinder or sawzall, but you'll never be able to actually get it out. But if you end up drilling all the way through the concrete, one day if you wanna remove this, you can basically pound it, take the nut off, and pound it down into the dirt under the concrete. And then that way you don't have metal flush with the concrete or sticking up, and you can fill it with a little concrete or some mortar, caulk, or crack sealant and cover up that hole and not have a stud flush or sticking up out of the concrete. So generally they grab better when you don't have a bunch of concrete or dust in the bottom of the hole either. Normally I'd have a shop vac, but I don't feel like dragging one out here for 2 holes. So drag these in. I'll put you on first. Mushroom in the head of the hole. All right. So now we'll get us on the mark. Basically right there. And we can give one more little tap. And we can snug it in. That's it. So typically in a post frame, if you're setting posts, you don't put this style bracket below grade to where the post is going to sit on it and get anchored in. Usually you have a post, you have blocking on the bottom of the post that you nail to it, and that provides uplift once you pack all the dirt around your posts. Here, I do plan on filling this in. This would be basically the floor of the crawl space. I'm either going to put plastic or foam or something down, but these will be filled in, but there wouldn't be enough dirt here to provide any uplift protection. So if there was ever a bunch of wind or something happened, this now is anchored down to the concrete and it provides it from being able to lift up out of the ground. So like I said, pretty simple bracket. One anchor goes pretty easy. Same thing on this side. So that concrete's a good 8 inches thick, which is about perfect. And it's 5,000 PSI concrete, so plenty strong. And post sitting on concrete is always better than concrete around a post. You know, when you set a fence post or something, if you just dig a hole, put a post in the ground and put concrete around it, you're really not spreading out any of the load to the concrete. You're just backfilling it with concrete and the friction around it. When it sits on a footing is where you get your strength. I don't got enough room to hammer. So one other thing you can do, I just remembered as I was trying to hammer that in like that, is you can actually use your hammer drill. If you put it in chipping mode where it doesn't spin, put on that bolt. You can drive her home real easy. I'm actually going to loosen that nut up so I can drive it down a little further. So this needs to be lower than these plates so it doesn't sit on the post doesn't sit on the bolt. So that's a little trick for you. So it makes things a lot easier. That's it. She's solid. Love this little thing. It's got so much power for how small it is. All right, so we got our 2 post bracket set. So now we can go grab our posts and we will get those in place. And the way this is going to work is the posts are only going to be to the height of the platform. I'm going to conventional frame the walls 16 on center with 2x4s on top of the platform, the deck, after it's built. So we'll get the post set, then we can maybe start getting the ledger up and the beam across and get everything in place. So we just want to verify that the end is square so it sits flat on the base plate there. This does look pretty good actually. Okay, so once we set the posts there, we're going to secure it in place with a few nails into the bracket. But we do want them to be on the lines, touching and level. So if I go to that line, just touch it. It's perfectly level that way. We're just touching the line there, and we're perfect that way. So I'll just throw a couple nails on each side. Actually, I'm going to put a couple screws in just in case we have to reposition. And I figure once we get this set, a couple screws, we'll get the perimeter rim joists on, and that'll lock everything in place, and then we can fasten the bottom with the proper nails. Okay, let's do the same thing on this side. Now you can see the foam that I have behind the walls here. That's in between all the girts. So it's the foil backed 1.5 inch foam, and it's all fleshed out. So this is roughly where my door is going to be into the bathroom. So I'm just going to cut a chunk of this 2x8 out of here, and that will expose concretes up in this area somewhere here, a couple inches down from the top of this. This right here is actually a piece of like Z-bent flashing. And what I did before I poured my concrete, my 1.5 inch foam was on the inside of the grade board. And this Z-bent flashing comes down, I believe 2.5 inches, goes out 1.5 inches, and down like another inch. So what this did was it capped my foam. It goes down, goes across the top of the foam and down. And I set this perfectly level around the whole shop on the interior. And the top of this foam, the top of this flashing, is the top of concrete. So that line right there is exactly where the top of the cement is inside the shop. So we're going to set our floor height, because this is going to get tile floor in here, and I'm probably going to do the Schluter Dietra heat. So I'm going to heat the floor in here. So that adds about 3/8 of an inch. There's probably 3/8 of thin set, and the tile is about 3/8. So 1/8 will be where our finished height is. So we'll get that determined. We can transfer that mark out to our posts, and we'll be able to mark that, because we're actually going to notch the posts to accept the beam across the face of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this 2x6. We're actually going to use that underneath here. Then we're going to set a new 2x8 on top of both of them and anchor them through into the post, and that'll be our ledger that we joist hang the floor joists off of here. Flush this up with the right outside post. Anytime you're shooting into pressure treated lumber, gotta have hot dip galvanized nails. And ring shanks make all the difference for holding power. Not fun to pull apart, but if you're putting something in, you want it to stay. They hold really well. So pressure treated lumber almost never has perfectly straight cuts on it. So I always like to true up one end and then measure off of that. Now we got a nice straight edge to measure off of. And pressure treated lumber is usually not dimensionally correct either as far as length. If you buy an 8-footer, it's generally 3/4 inch heavy, somewhere in there. So you can't just assume you buy a 10-footer, it's exactly 10 feet. It's not like a stud that comes pre-cut, the right size. They're always a little heavy. So 8'11" and 1/8. So one thing you can do when you're by yourself like this, and it's kind of tough to hold on to something, is you can put a screw at the bottom of where your board's going to be. So you know that's the top. And a 2x8 is about 7 1/4. On pressure treated, it's probably just a touch heavier, but we're going to go, let's just say 7 3/8. We're just going to put a screw in here for a second. And that's going to be our helping hand for us to support that side while we get this side lined up where we want it. So we got our mark. Again. Put a mark there. So real close. Wait till that's real. Touch. Put a mark. So just want to confirm that we're level before we get crazy nailing this thing in. I'd say that's pretty good. Throw some more nails in here, and then I'm gonna go grab some big GRKs and run them all the way into the post. So I thought I had some longer ones. I'm gonna throw just a couple in for now temporarily, but I'm gonna get at least a 6 or maybe even 8-inch GRKs that run all the way through it. And so I really bury them into that post there. But for now, we'll just throw 1 or 2 of these in just to help for now. Okay. So that is top of floor. So we'll use a square around here just because these posts might not be perfectly plumb. And if you use a level, the post isn't straight, then the line won't be straight to the post. So we're gonna mark it with a square. Level, 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 level. Now we want to verify this thing's square. 142 3/4. Try one more click. 42 3/4. 42 7/8. 42 7/8. Okay. So now we're perfectly square. All right, guys. I think that's it for today's video. I'm gonna have to cut it off here. Got a family event we got to get to. So stay tuned for the next one. Next step's going to be getting the joist hangers in place on both ends, getting the holes back filled, get the skirting in place. It's going to hold back the dirt, insulated, and we might even get the hole dug and set the pump before the joists and the floor system goes in. So all that to get done, we'll have a platform here, and then we start building the actual bathroom from there. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you want to stick around for the next episode, and I'll see you next time.